Teorico Shaga. Yeah, that's you now. Out 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 you now.
For the love of local music, as always, that is Sunny Boy featuring Mr. Gulo, DJ Mbizi, Jojo, and LJ. It's titled Omadalama. Good morning and welcome to the morning mix on Informanté Radio. As you can see this morning.
Omadrama, man.
Omadalama, man.
Omadrama.
Oh, is that how you're supposed to say the song?
Why must you say Omadalama?
But that's how it's written, was.
Yeah, Omadrama.
Drama.
Man.
Not to be mistaken for drama.
Morning, guys. Tata Nebel not joining us this morning.
So what did you leave in Nebel Haman?
Ek ken nie wat dit met Nebel gebeur nie. But yeah.
Spasms.
Apparently he's having spasms. He's having old man problems.
Where did he go to the gym last night or what?
I think he's been back in the gym for the past 2 weeks or so. The body needs to catch up.
Yeah, he has reached the age where when you go to the gym, you must take it slow, eh? You cannot go there and be a Shines.
Worry never. I remember Shines broke his arm once almost in the gym. He couldn't even move the arm because he tore a muscle or something.
No, Shines. Shines abused and he was walking like this. What's Johnny Bravo?
You can't get buff in one day, my guy. You have to pace yourself. Yeah, it doesn't happen overnight. Anyway, guys, good morning. I see a bunch of you already jumping on the live stream. It's a pleasure to have you guys on board as always. Of course, we're going to get to your comments as the show does go on. We reported 9 new cases yesterday. Is that correct? I wasn't really keeping tabs.
I just got a text saying, I think it was new cases were announced during the news somewhere there.
Okay, so yesterday evening they announced
from 67 to 72.
I think the main story yesterday, yes, there were a lot of cases, but the main story was that there was the first one reported for the northern region, in the Angwena region. It had to be my region.
Angwena.
And what is the person's travel history, I guess?
Or somebody, I think that...
Is a contact of one of the known cases?
No. Travel through
a truck driver.
I think it's a truck driver that not Uber.
Not Uber.
Am I saying it correct?
Yes. Our Orange River border post.
Yes, but he checked himself in the Ngela State Hospital and is currently in isolation. But I think that's the first known. Not I think it is the first known case in not just the Angwena region, the whole of the northern region.
Of the north.
Yeah.
So the Vampus are panicking. But that was the news that over. So there were other cases, but there was more focus on that one just because of it's
the region where it is.
It's a novel case in the north.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So that's one in the north. There's one in Katima.
Katima is from where? Wasn't the
Malawian
doctor as well? Yes. So
Katima has already reported his case. So
it's interesting. This surge is not just going to remain, isolated to the coastal regions or to the Erongo region, to be specific.
Yeah.
We are starting to see cases popping up everywhere. Just last week or the week before, we had Marienthal, and now we have one in the north. And you know how these little clusters begin, and then all of a sudden, 1 turns into 4, 4 turns into 16.
Yeah. And it's also for that reason that I'm very careful not to call Walfish Bay the epicenter. Because, yes, I know somebody said they're not doing mass, but actually did confirm. They are doing mass testing in Walfish Bay, like I had initially stated. But it's if you're doing mass testing, of course you're going to unearth
more positive cases.
More positive cases. We don't know if we started doing mass tests here in Windhoek, whether
what we will uncover. And what we could uncover is that our numbers are higher than Walfish Bay. That's just the reality, because even if you listen to the interviews of the people that are currently infected, they don't understand the virus, because they said we're healthy. Like the woman that's being accused of the cluster infection, she says, But I don't feel sick.
I don't feel sick. I don't even. I'm well. Everything about me is well. So, and that's what we've been hearing a lot from the people that have been testing positive. They found out they infected because they went for the mass testing, not necessarily because
they had symptoms.
Yeah. And you could very well find that this is the case here. You and I could have it right now, and we're feeling.
Don't say so.
Yeah. I'm just saying. That's just what we're seeing. So yeah, good and well to call it the epicenter, but unless you roll out a mass testing throughout the country, it's not a real fair assessment at this point.
Right. 77 on independence.
Yes.
Of course, it could still turn out to be problematic. I saw. In one of the dailies, I saw on the front page a story about there being no mass tests. I think the representatives or the agents who manage the building.
So they've not been contacted. There's been no mass testing. And yet some service providers are refusing to go there. Apparently like Mr. Pizza Delivery, for example.
Yeah.
If you call them and you say, I'm on 77,
they're like,
forget it. Unless you're going to pick up your pizza on the corner across. Or
tell them you're at City of Windhoek just across the...
Yes. So they're not coming to 77.
I will also not go.
But why?
I think that's the whole discrimination that's happening with this virus already.
Look, I think...
It's the fear already at 77 on independence. I can't...
Yeah, maybe the prices will come down and we can get a cheap flat. In any case, I think there's a lot of misinformation. And, everybody has the assumption that if you're positive and we are in close proximity to each other, I have the virus, basically.
It's a given.
Yes, it's a given.
Yeah.
But you can be around positive people, and if you're taking the necessary precautions, not pick up the virus.
This is not an HIV/AIDS ad.
Me and Shines were talking about this earlier. This virus is so confusing that you can't detect it, and I think that's the biggest problem of it. Understand normal, I will just walk in here.
Yeah, but you are busy spreading things all over.
But I'm busy and I'm not even aware. The problem is I'm not aware of it. It's just a normal day to me.
But that's what makes it so important for everybody to wear a mask. Stories like that, I think, just reiterate the importance of actually taking the precautions that were put in place. Because, if you don't know whether you're sick or not, then the best thing is to wear a mask, because you protect the people around you, and also you protect yourself from the people around you.
But the mask is when I sneeze or...
when you talk.
Or when I talk, when I cough. But what if I touch something without knowing that surface was infected, and I just moved from the other office to this office just like that, and then I touch the door handle, I leave it there.
And
that's what making this virus so complicated. If you could kick it in the ass, you'll probably do it, because you'll be like...
Our producer said ass, so we know we're allowed to.
Yeah. By the way, Sammy is always the one who says we cannot say these things, and he said it, so from now on...
Sinje.
Kick it in there.
Yeah. But I wanted to say, I was having this very interesting discussion with somebody that just is not afraid of the virus. And I said, you know what, I'm trying to understand where your mindset is. And he said, it's not about my mindset, it's about my research. And I was able to go and read some of the suggested links, and I will share them with you, I'm happy to. But he made a very sound, solid argument, I must say, that was backed up by all this research, where they said, globally, if you look at the stats and the people that have died, firstly, it's people with underlying health conditions.
Yeah.
That's just the first thing. And the second thing is, it's usually like if you look at like what was the in Italy the age average was 89
80.
of death, 89 years. I think Germany was 80. So it's
Elderly.
the elderly who usually do have underlying health issues, but even the younger ones that have died. And I know in for example, when they reported the first one of the youngest children that died in the States, I think she was 6 or something. She had like asthma or some underlying issue. And this is the information, unfortunately. I mean, you just hear death. You're not told. And I understand that medical history and medical info is generally private. It's not to be consumed.
Yes, it's not something that is out in the public.
It's not out in the public, and it doesn't need to be. I understand that much. I mean, it is a very private and personal thing, but it does kind of change. It would change your perception of the coronavirus if you realize that, like, I don't know if I can say 100%, but at least 99% of all the deaths are associated to some ailment, some ailment that existed, and that if you can never be 100% healthy, but if you are healthy, if you generally have good health, then you get it and
your body fights it off. More likely than not, your body's going to fight it off.
And most times you don't even know
that you even contracted the
that
virus,
you even contracted it. It kind of it changes your perception a lot, and I think that information needs to be re-emphasized, especially with kids then eventually going back to school in August or July, to be able to say, well, assess your kids. Do you generally have healthy kids? Do they have asthma? Do they have some other lining health issues? What's the best, so that you can make that correct decision for your child and not just say, well, school's starting, I don't want them to miss out on anything. And make the responsible decision. And even for ourselves, even here, not just at this office, but offices across the country, people that have underlying health issues, asthma is one of the most common ones, but other ones, bronchitis, TB,
HIV.
Yes, HIV, anything. Like those people, I think you should just be able to come and declare that to HR.
You are an at-risk person.
You are an at-risk person.
I think that's why they had that in our corona policy as well. Huh? If you are one of...
No, it just said if you're not feeling well. You understand the policies are not clear, because it says if you're feeling sick, stay at home. But I might not be feeling sick, but I've got an underlying health issue. I have asthma.
Yeah.
I should be able to work from home. I should be encouraged to work from home. Not because of fear of I might infect other people.
But because it's more dangerous for you to get infected. It's more dangerous to get infected.
Yeah. So I wish our ministry, they were putting a little bit more of this information. I would think that would be the best foot forward.
Yeah. Yes.
People with underlying should not be working at offices, and it's not because, like I said, right now everybody's trying to protect the other stuff. Like, if you're not feeling sick, don't come, because they're scared you're going to infect other people. But what about your own infection? So I would really like us to get a little bit more of that information. I was able to read the links, and it is actually a very sound and legitimate argument.
The general perception, for the most part anyway, is that everything that the corona touches, it kills. That is the picture we have, right? Yeah, but which is not the case. You also don't want, you want people to take precautions, so you don't want to sort of undersell the importance of this moment for the world at large. But, you start to sort of give credence to those who are shouting, but it's just like any other flu. Yes, it's a bit more dangerous. The mortality rate it might be a bit higher than, for instance, the regular flu. Yes, the mortality rate is higher than the regular flu. The regular flu, of course, infects a lot more people every year. That's why the numbers of people who die from the regular flu are a lot more. If we let the coronavirus run amok, like we do with the flu, It comes in the office. It infects like 90% of the office. Everybody, you know.
No matter
at their
how
own
careful
time,
you
yes.
are, of course, everybody will be infected at the end of the day.
Yes, then the death toll would be a lot higher. But it's because we have taken these precautions that we have kept the death toll a bit lower. But like we can't run from it forever, because it doesn't seem like, I don't think we're ever going to get to a point where coronavirus is, or COVID-19 or whatever it is completely out of our society worldwide.
Well, unless we find a
Vaccine for it.
vaccine. But then again, then you're going to profit from the vaccine. And
Yeah.
that the pharmaceuticals are going to profit, and that in itself also means that those with the have-nots
Yes.
will not be able to access it. So yeah, you're right in a sense that it will never completely go away, even with a vaccine. But I feel like the reason I'm saying the messaging is so
Yeah, it's
important
so-
is like,
yeah.
yes, protect everybody, but especially protect the vulnerable. And the vulnerable are not just the people in the nursing home. I know those people are largely being protected. They're not allowed visitors and so forth. It's not just the people in the nursing homes. Yes, we know the elderly are very vulnerable. But it's other people. Like if for example, you have to pick a person to go and do groceries shopping in the house, even with a mask, don't let the guy with the asthma go.
Go, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let that guy stay at home.
Yes.
And let somebody with
a stronger immune,
immune go out there. And like that's what I'm saying. Those are the messaging that needs to be emphasized. It's not to say that everybody shouldn't be protected, but we do need to kind of change our thinking on this.
On the virus.
And to better protect people with weaker immune systems.
Yes. And of course we have seen how I mean we're kind of watching the situation that is unfolding in especially Walfish Bay. You can see just how quickly the virus can
Yeah, it did.
it can go from not being there to just being all over, popping up here. Yeah, popping up here, popping up there. So it is even more important, I guess, for everybody to be taking precautions, especially so we can protect the ones that are the most vulnerable.
Yeah. I think we need to get to the stage where we need to learn about the virus and just understand. Now, you speak of community. You know how people like to exaggerate in communities. You will tell somebody, no, this is not a deadly virus. That John or Meme Anna could sit in a conversation in the neighborhood, and the way they will say it, Memo, kuno corona or not, you know, that's it. Not saying that no, we can control this virus. No, it will just be that deadly, and that's the now when you get the virus, you'll be like, Mar.
Yeah, why am I not
feeling like what I'm hearing? You know, I'm feeling okay. You know, so that's why you get people also denying, it's impossible. I don't have this virus. For me, man.
Yeah, but it's just like the information that we are putting out there. We really should.
Yeah.
And not just, you know, we tend to think that just I guess official sources are the ones who can give the right information. But like, you know, we can also spread the right message around when we are having these sorts of conversations, instead of sitting there and say, oh, kuno corona
kuno corona corona, you know, so it has inflicted more a fear. So I think, and as Maria said, we need to stand our guards. You know, it's like my body cells must not all right, man. I can fight this off. And the ones that are really weak, the ones that can really become victims, are the ones already having health problems. So let's focus on them and let's keep those ones protected.
I think that the biggest strain was the fact that, I mean, it's a new virus.
But it's not that new anymore. Man.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, like, let's say November, December last year, early this year.
China.
Yeah.
We only found out about it like in Feb.
Yeah, that's true. But then when it traveled to the rest of the world, it was still something new to all these communities. So when it comes, it's going to affect, like, you see the way the infected cases were overwhelming hospitals around the world. I mean, you don't see those scenes anymore. You don't see scenes of just people scattered all over hospital floors and stuff like that anymore. Because, when the virus is new, obviously it's going to affect a lot more people, but then for instance, for countries who had decided to go for what was it, herd immunity, or what do they call it?
Yeah.
Yes. It's that kind of thing where you're like, okay, let's get as many people infected as.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it comes to...
and we treat the ones that get seriously ill. And I mean, by 3-4 months, if the virus is really run through the community, then you will only be having like 5, 3, 2, 1 cases popping up.
Yeah, but there's reinfection.
But there's also reinfection.
COVID actually surprised
It's not like a once-off.
the whole world. Yeah. Normally they say with when viruses, these pandemics pop up, it normally takes say 6 months, and then they know where they are with it, and either the number goes up and then the number comes down. COVID. So pause me, bro. Just when people were most relaxed, like pandemics, they come and go. With COVID, while they are still relaxed, they're just like, yo, but this guy is just spreading you. It's non-stop. It's everywhere.
That's
From
true.
China to the rest of the world. Imagine.
Yeah. Let's oh man, let's read some comments. Don J. Mwandi says coughing in a mask is a health hazard when the body is removing what it don't need. Don't try to stop the process.
Somebody's like, mask is for under the armpits. Like
Come on, mask. Oh, I know that mask. Lolon.
Don't J, it's M-A-S-K. Mask. Not M-U-S-K.
That is right, Simon Amushira. If your immune system is poor, you can die of it. There are people with poor health and not eating well, partly of poor immune systems. Yes, of course. I mean, if you come to the third world, there are a lot more people who are vulnerable and who are much more vulnerable to the disease.
Like the African American community, it's actually been found and proven. It's like the reason the COVID-19 seems to be like really affecting African Americans is diet.
Yeah. McDonald's.
The diet. The McDonald's, everybody's going for it. But like even at home, it's like it's really fatty foods that then create like a lot of health issues because it's over a period of time. I mean, when we talk about our traditional food, like if I'm Omwam, when I'm speaking of traditional, I'm talking about dried spinach, I'm talking about mahangu porridge, I'm talking about occasionally marathon chicken. Those are all healthy, organic stuff. Whatever else you make, it might not be a full diet, but it's a very organic one. And with African American families, it's very fatty foods. If you look at that, like everything has to be fried. Everything's in oil, and it's just. And trust me, I've been in the States. I hate their food. I'm not even talking about African American. I'm talking about just the eating culture of Americans. So like even if you stay in a hotel, what they serve you, like the bacon is like you can break it. It's like chips. That's how much they fry it. Like it's so everything is just fatty and unhealthy. The only healthy option you can take is fruits. But even there, those I can't even trust that are organically grown.
They're not organic at all.
So this is the lifestyle in America, especially within the African American population, has found that it's actually have had a negative effect on their health. And when you have again those underlying health issues, and you get the COVID-19,
it could spell trouble.
It could spell trouble, and is spelling trouble for them. So I think for the most part we are okay. In terms of our diet,
is
we don't.
Okay,
we are okay.
We are okay. The only problem I think that they have been creating chaos is alcohol in this country, and we have seen it from all.
Sensitive topic.
It's not sensitive, but it's the truth.
The alcoholics don't want to hear those things. It's like, please don't tell us we are the problem.
We had it with TB patients. This guy suffering from TB has to take his medication. But instead of taking his medication, he's going to drink. TB gets worse.
Of course, but look, it's because we refuse to consider alcoholism an addiction in this country. We just refuse. As Manet, who did us? The person drink Manet, Nema, they are fine. High functioning alcohol.
Social activity.
It's an addiction.
Yeah, but it's that addiction is the biggest problem we have in this country.
But then we must
And I
deal
think
with
the
it.
Minister of Health also did say that, please, especially if you know you have health issues, stay away from alcohol, make your immune system stronger. Now, we just feel like, okay, I drink medicine today, tomorrow, full na, but your body is not yet recovered.
But that's like, okay, I mean, I understand there is personal responsibility also, but some of these people really do need help. Not just from government, but also from their communities and from their families and so on. Like, we need to recognize the problem of alcohol consumption in the country.
You saw the video that Chance did about the whole corona. You saw how the people were drinking were responding to it. And like, this is so bad.
So remember, my beer can kill that corona.
My beer can kill that corona.
That's
if I
just the
drink
wrong
whiskey,
mentality,
it will
yeah.
kill. But you're at the end of the day, you're just weakening your immune system at the same time without actually knowing it.
No, I was hoping that because there is a very important topic that I thought we would be addressing. I just don't want us to like
to drag on with other stuff.
Because there's that High Court ruling.
The High Court ruling. Yes, I actually, when we were speaking about what were we talking about earlier on that I wanted to bring it up. But in any case,
Unlawful and unconstitutional.
yes, the High Court ruled yesterday that the directive, which came as part of sort of the COVID-19 regulations, for companies to not be retrenching their staff, it came from the highest office in the country, and not to be laying off employees, and I think not to cut
salaries,
not to unpaid leave.
Yes.
Not to retrench.
Yes, so the High Court pronounced itself on the issue, and they deem it unlawful and unconstitutional.
Yeah. It's inconsequential in the end because it wasn't being enforced, just by the way.
Yes,
the government,
case,
the government, I think, had kind of realized.
We can't force you. We can tell you.
Yeah, we can advise against it.
But we can't force you.
We can't force you against it. But I mean, the ruling obviously is seen as a loss to not just the state, really, but to the employees,
the working population.
The working population, because the fear is, and we are seeing it, is that companies that have not been affected by this are using this time to retrench. You look at companies like Pick n Pay announcing that they're retrenching. Is it 300 or 500? 500 staff members. Pick n Pay has been open.
Yes.
During the COVID-19.
Yes, they haven't.
What's their excuse?
You've been selling.
Yes.
In fact, Pick n Pay, I think, even had price hikes.
Yes.
They were accused of price hiking. So it's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
If a shop that was open throughout lockdown, and we know people didn't stop eating during lockdown, we still had to feed ourselves. So people were still making use of your shop.
Maybe it's the approaches from the group as a whole. I mean, I know O&L took one of the biggest hits with the brewery being closed and the alcohol sales.
But they made that money immediately after it was lifted.
They made some of it, I think.
No, they made a lot. Like, I think that the unconfirmed reports on the first day.
On the first day.
Just the first day.
No, they were close to 100 million in the first day.
And it does beg the question, because the alcohol ban was just a little under 3 months. Under 3 months.
Stage 1 and 2.
A company, right? And I don't want to put O&L on blast. This is really a general statement, but I'm going to use O&L as an example. A company that's been making profits, like the breweries, NAM breweries, reached their target sooner. Like, they reached it last year. I think the closing of the year is this year, March. They reached it, I think, November, December last year. They were celebrating because they met their target. A company that's for years and years and years been raking in billions of dollars in profits. And 3-month ban, you're like, look, we might not be able to sustain this model. What are you talking about?
That's true.
You understand? What exactly are you talking about?
Because I remember even during his address, the president did make, he didn't say any specifics, but he did allude to the fact that there are companies who have been in existence for 87, 80, 90, 100 years. in Namibia.
Yes.
I mean, you can't tell me that 3 months is going to crumble your business.
Unless
3
you,
months
you
of not
really just
operating.
want to hoard the profits, and
Yes.
you don't want to
Exactly.
really put money to
Yeah.
your mouth and really do what you need to do. Like, I'm gonna take a bit of a knocking now. We're not gonna make 100,000 profit monthly.
Yeah.
Just an example.
gonna make 80.
We'll make 80.
Yeah.
But at least we're keeping our stuff. It's just people that, the way I see it,
Mm.
and it really is inexcusable. It's inexcusable.
Yes.
So with this judgment, unfortunately, the workers are now not protected anymore.
Yeah.
And I understand. Look, I understand that it was important to make a distinction between SME and bigger business. I understand that that was also an issue. And when the employers took that, I understood it, because you can't very well expect a small business that has, let's say, a staff complement of 10 people to have the same model as a company with, let's say, 300, 500, 1,000 plus.
Yeah.
It's not the same. The guy, the SME, cannot pay those salaries realistically if they're not making money.
Of
They
course,
just
yes.
cannot. But if you're looking at businesses that have been in operation for years and years and have been raking in like millions
of
and
millions.
billions of
Like you've been
profits.
in existence for more than 50 years. Let's just make that.
Oh,
the
no, it's like
benchmark.
100 years, right?
Yeah, and there's not been 1 year that you were operating in a loss.
Never.
Yes.
Quite literally never.
So, I also don't get how, I mean, you don't know what the business models look like.
The senior guys just want to pocket. They don't want to lose their jobs.
My
They
bro,
don't want to lose their fair checks.
Jet fuel is
So they get
expensive.
rid of the guys that are at the lower, the guys that are doing the jobs.
For me, a responsible response is cutting from the top down.
Yeah.
And when I say cut, I don't mean dismiss or retrench. I mean, even if it's to say I'm going to take a 30% or 15% pay cut during this time, because I do earn so much. If your one salary is the equivalent of 20 staff at the bottom,
At the bottom.
Yeah.
Then you can cut it.
then you can say, yes, I understand now that your lifestyle is much higher and cost of living is higher. Obviously, the higher up you are, but still, if one guy, by cutting, let's say, their salary by 20%, can essentially save 3 or 4 jobs, then rather do that than keeping those salaries at the top the same and kind of just throwing people back into the streets, people that will even have a harder time getting a job. So I think companies really have to look at it responsibly and also understand that we are working under different times.
Yeah.
I'll give this company as an example. It's like COOs, for example. We're not taking
Your annual increase.
annual increase, which is a responsible thing to do. But the guys at the lower will
Get
on
their
a
increase.
standard one. So let me give up that annual increase because I do have a little bit more, or I earn a little bit more than my subordinates, and let them get that salary increment. It's a very, very responsible way to look at things and do things, and all companies should be looking in that direction.
But like you see, that socialist culture sort of it's something that we saw really take full effect in almost all around the world, because most of the communities did realize after a while that our government is either unwilling or unable to help us, so we're going to have to help each other.
Yes,
we're going to have to hold each other's hands, and we're going to have to make sure that we all get through this.
We all get
Yes.
through this.
Yes.
Thing and Bell did the same as well, yeah? They cut all their top executive salaries.
But it's somebody. I think somebody also commented yesterday when we were talking about tourism. Somebody I think said, and we didn't read the comment, but I did see it. Somebody said, but also this tourist companies and this hotels, they've been making profits like for years. And now there's like a 3 months cut, and all of a sudden, we can't sustain. I think people are also like very dishonest about their businesses.
Of course, people they don't want to. Like, for instance, I remember I was talking to, I can't remember whether it was Neville or it was Darkas. But anyway, they were telling me about one of this, I think Novel Ford, or one of the owners of one of these car companies around here close by. And he was like, you know what, I can afford to pay out of my personal savings, I can afford to pay my staff for maybe 2 months, a month and a half. But after that, I don't know what I'm going to do. Now, if you have a business that has been in existence for 100 years, I'm sure there are reserves.
There's
Or
a
you
lot of
should
reserves.
have.
You should have a lot
you
of
should
reserves.
be having reserves. And even if you're paying your shareholders exorbitant fees
Yes.
every single year,
Yes.
there should be at least funds to pay your employees for a year. That's just my assumption. I mean,
Yes.
So, like you're saying, I think some companies, let's just say some companies are not being honest.
Yeah.
They're reluctant to be in a position where I'm making less money, not even necessarily losing
Yeah.
money, because
Yeah.
when you
Just
look,
making less.
yes,
Yeah, you're still making your profit.
yeah, but
you're
I'm
just not making
less
them.
than
Yes.
what I wanted to
Yes.
make. So, but yeah, it's a bit selfish, and it's you
Not
see,
a bit.
that's the problem with the capitalist system.
It's not a bit selfish. It's a whole lot of selfish. It's a whole lot of selfish.
But we must also look to it that the world is also changing. More things are going digital. I'll give you, for example, car sales. I think Bob Covert is also cutting employees, yeah?
I don't think they are. There was a demonstration in front of the offices.
Yeah. So
But only black staff got cut. This
Yeah.
is the problem.
You get to a place whereby you sell cars.
No, it was in Dongo. Sorry, not
Yeah.
Popkovets.
It's in Dongo.
In Dongo.
Yeah.
Toyota.
So you sell cars, but we live in a world whereby I don't need a salesman. I don't need to go to your store to really check a car if I want to buy a car. I can literally check it online. And if I love the car and if I like the car, then I say, check it out. Send me talk to Ikotas if I buy car. I don't
Yeah, but
have-
that is still that guy's sale. The guy that sends you the quotation,
Yeah.
it's still his
yeah.
sale.
You understand what I'm... But now, instead of having 10 salespeople, you can cut them down to, say, 5. And do the rest digital. I'm just giving a scenario of how the world is moving. And if we want to move, let's move along. We cannot just be stagnant and just do things the old way all the time.
I understand what
Yeah.
you're saying, but first of all, that model has been there for years. I mean, all cars, usually car dealers have websites, but there is something about going in and checking the car.
Yeah.
It's like you can see it online, you have an idea of what you want,
Yeah.
but you're going to go in and you're going to be like,
I want to see how it
I
feels.
want to
to
see
sit
how
in the
it
seat.
feels. I want
Yeah.
to, does the seat hug me? You can't see that online.
No.
Does it hug me? How does the gear feel?
Yeah.
You know, the steering wheel, does it have a nice grip? Whatever. These are things that you have to come in physically for. So I don't think like being digital has made salespeople less relevant.
No, but it somehow it did, especially during the Corona time. Hey?
In general, Sammy,
Yeah.
I think my opinion is that, like, during lockdown,
Yeah.
most companies sort of were able to gauge whether they could operate with a smaller staff complement.
Yes.
And I guess, I mean, some companies probably figured out, like, but then, I mean, we are operating optimally, or as close to optimally as we possibly can, with half or even less than half the staff that we are keeping. So, so if we're making less profits, some of these people gotta go.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So it's not necessarily that you may not. I mean, yes, the world is changing and things are going to be different, but does that necessarily mean that you don't need the people that you had before?
I saw it was in Germany. I don't know if it's Germany or whatever. They have a KFC that's totally
Come on, KFC.
It's totally operated by machines.
Oh yes, the machines are like this little robot serving you.
Yes,
your food
it's
and
like
stuff.
you order your food like a drive-through. No human. It's like a drive-through. Go, you order your food, you punch, and everything is just done by the machines, and then it comes out on the
Yes,
other
but
end.
what,
And I was,
when people talk about robotics and whatever, there's a fundamental thing that they forget is that those robotics have to be serviced by real people.
No. Even the robot cannot cook my food.
You know what I mean?
I don't trust the robot to fry my chicken.
It's like
The way I
they
like it.
still have to be operated
Yeah.
operated and checked and
And checked
maintained,
and maintained.
because the maintenance and all that, and even that they'll always look. People will never, even with robotics, will there'll always be a service for people. There will always be jobs for people.
for people.
Even with robotics. even if, and for Namibia, we're not, look, we still struggle with Wi-Fi, so we're not even close to going robotics right now. We have a very, very long way to go. But it is very correct in saying that times are changing. We do have to relook at models and whatever. But I'm saying the solution cannot be right now, because you want to maintain your $2,000 profits. That let me cut stuff. Instead of saying, let me settle for $500 profit for now, it's still a profit. It's not the one I'm used to.
I'm not operating in a loss.
Yes, I'm not operating on a loss. I'm not operating on a maximum capacity, but I'm not operating at a loss. Then you're still good. You're still good. But it cannot be that you lose $1 or $2 and you go into panic mode and you're just on the firing line, like you understand?
Left, right, center.
And it's unfortunate that with yesterday's decision, this is when you know you're run by, this capitalist system. You know our economy is not ours. Say what you want.
Money runs this.
It's there, but it's not ours.
It's not ours.
And this is my fear, and it's a legitimate fear, and I hope to be proven wrong. Although I'm seeing that it's already being done, is that people are going to use this to just cut or just not pay or just cut salaries by 50% or not give people, and it's going to be more difficult for those employees to get recourse, because even if you go to the labor commissioner or you try, what are they going to say? Oh, they're justified. It's a high court ruling.
High court ruling.
They're allowed to cut your salary or not pay you for your leave or force retrenchment. You can't do anything. You just have to accept whatever is given to you.
So that means our constitution needs to be amended as well to protect the employee, because at the moment it's said, it needs to be amended. That can is so very.
But I wonder how it's going to play out because when it comes to the Labor Act, there are a lot of other little nuances that, of course, were not necessarily part of what was being argued in the courts here, which could come into play. So, you could still get a little something, or you could get some semblance of a win.
You'll get that win whereby you get retrenched, according to the labor. That's the only thing. But there's no law that can protect you not to lose your job.
Of course, but you can't also, I don't think such a law would ever exist.
Yeah, it would not. Yeah, it would.
That's
because for me as the employer, then that would mean I'm being forced to keep on people, even though they're not
serving.
You cannot sustain.
Even though I'm on my knees.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is their argument. And I do understand those arguments. If you're on your knees, by all means, you cannot. If you cannot pay staff. Of course, you have to retrench.
It's true. It's either I lose some employees or we lose the company as a whole.
As a whole.
Yeah.
And of course, that's what I'm saying. That is very justified, and I know they use that in arguments, and that was a very legitimate and sound argument. Like sometimes you don't have a choice.
Yes.
Literally, your business is sinking. And it's like you have to decide to throw out, if you want to float and get to the shore, you have to throw out some
dead weight.
Some dead weight. Like, we can't take all of you to the finish line. But I understand. Yeah. But like I think the issue is that when it's being exploited.
Exploited, yes.
It's being exploited just because you're doing it. Net omdachival.
But
you want to continue having toast and eggs on the way to the shore, instead of saying, you know what, I'll just have bread. I'm still eating, but it's not the fancy stuff.
But they did mention that for companies in the future that want to retrench, they need to provide financial records.
Show us you lost money.
Yeah, show us you have really lost money.
But who's regulating that? Who's looking
now
at that?
That's another problem.
That is actually a brilliant
I can
point.
tune my financials.
Yeah, like, look, when it comes to just the mask wearing, like it's not really being regulated. Like the other morning, right? I'm driving, the cab in front of me has 4 people in. No, it wasn't a cab. It was a private car. It's full. And we're not allowed to be 4 people in like in one of those.
It's 3 at the back and 1, or is it?
No, 2 at the back, 1 in front. Yeah, so you're not allowed to be 5 in the car. There should be at least 1 empty space at the back. Now this guy says vol gepakt, ne? Behind them is a police car with 4 police officers inside. They're pointing and laughing, pointing and showing each other. They say, look at this one. And then they just drive by. And it's like, you see, so who is actually enforcing these rules?
Yeah.
So it's just like on your unlucky day, if you get caught, you're in trouble. But in general, everybody's going to try and take the sort of the risk because I can get away with this.
Yeah.
It's the same with this, I guess, with the
financial records.
yes, with the financial records. It's like, no, you have to show your financial records. It's like, we can fight in court first for the next 2 years whether I can show you my financial records or not.
Yeah.
And by then, these people have already been laid off.
Yeah. By the way, you should get to the comments probably, right? They're filing up.
What did you see that you want?
No. I'm seeing that
Ashmaliwa
coming.
Zemani.
Did you hear Maria there? Comrade Michael Chipiki, Mr. President and all ministers plus Director General. DG is Director General, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Their salaries must be reduced this time. Actually, guys, the president doesn't really earn that much in
and
salary.
I think he said he gives 30% to
Yeah, but didn't
vulnerable.
they? I think he said that they did reduce theirs.
Yeah, he has more benefits. I think even I get paid more than Hage. I don't know.
Yeah, his benefits are more than anybody.
More than, if you have a
But
housing
the actual
allowance,
salary,
Yeah,
the
but-
actual
allowance.
salary,
Yeah, all the other perks are bigger, but like the actual salary is not.
so
it's not
basically, what their salary is just take home salary.
it's a clean
They
salary.
don't need to buy food. And
And then Maria Ina is replying to Comrade Chipiki saying, I know just to protect our nation destroyed by alcohol, they must make non-alcohol beer. I don't mean to ban beer totally. I think our government still get their tax.
there is
want
non-alcohol
what they
beer.
want.
It's just it doesn't sell.
Come on.
What's
Why
the
am I-
point?
Come on, what's the point of drinking
Yeah.
beer if there's
Come
no
on.
alcohol in it?
They don't drink alcohol for the taste.
Yeah, it's not just so you can look like you're holding a beer or drinking a beer.
Hulle soek daai gevoel and they want to numb the emotions. Avondre Karumba, companies that are still paying their employees are probably stingy and pay less for labor. And those that are retrenching might be paying high fees. And Corona is an excuse to retrench so they can still make a profit at the end of the year by not paying Seymour, by not paying employees. Okay. Adam Visser, meaning the study programs at the school must be adjusted to be aligned with the changing times. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
our curriculum
Yeah,
in
that-
general has been needing an overhaul for a long time. It maybe the coronavirus is going to be the one thing that finally pushes us as a country to start having that conversation. Erwin
This
Kaurere?
conversation has been coming for years. Yeah?
You know, the problem is, I'll get to that now. Let me just
Nah,
read this.
just read the
Yeah, not to move away from the point, but buying a car is a very personal and intimate experience, something that the internet can't suffice. Right? People use the internet for information about the car. The decision is made at the showroom. Yes. Timo Kalongo is asking Cubase as Daima Vutu a lawyer.
It's the second time I'm seeing it. What is a Mavutu?
Mavutu is a girl.
Oh, okay. The name's Maria or Tuva, whichever one you prefer.
Yes.
But no, I'm not a lawyer. But I would have made a damn good one. I promise you that.
Elias Mussolini. Okay, how do state enterprise like Namibia Airport Company, NAC, that maybe make 10% profit but still survive throughout this period, but still manage to keep all their employees throughout? I mean, we know of state-owned enterprises that survive basically of bailouts every year.
Yeah.
Let's not go there. There's quite a number of them. Let us sit down.
Fisco. Bradley Kumisep, that's the solidarity that Achaba spoke about. Yes, ons moet saamstaan, ons moet mekaar handen, ons moet mekaar probeer uithelp. David De Velo, keep up to date the nation. What you are doing is really building this nation. Thank you. We appreciate the love. Keep coming back every morning. We're going to do our very best to keep you well informed. Felicity Gontes Luderitz, years of profit versus 3 months of minimal losses. Pick and Pay, O&L must reveal their hidden agendas. They lost in one sector and cut in another sector where demand is high. Strategic planning we see you. Okay. Ishad Scott, Pick and Pay Management will most probably still receive their profit sharing this year. This is not a referendum on Pick and Pay per se. They were just used as an example.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are a lot of other companies that are also in similar situations to that of Pick and Pay.
But they should answer.
Yes, they should.
They should answer. Because and maybe they're justified. Nobody's saying they're not.
Yeah.
I'm just saying from where we're sitting,
Yep.
nothing looks justifiable.
looks-
Because your businesses, Pick and Pay never closed its doors.
Yes.
It never did.
Yep.
And you're retrenching the guys that you're already paying peanuts.
The ones that were your frontline staff, hopefully not. I mean, these are the people who were actually sitting and working during this difficult time, and some of them are now
They're
going to
called
lose their jobs.
essential services.
Yes.
And we realized how important
Yeah.
the people that we ignored. Because, okay, when you talk about doctors and nurses, we've always seen them as essential
Yeah.
services.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, that's why the profession is so well respected.
Yes.
But you never thought of the guy that's picking the shelf or your cashier.
Yeah.
Or, the guy at the bank, or
The bank teller,
the bank teller. Those are not people even truck drivers,
Yeah, they're like
Those are-
essentials, like never.
but those were the guys that stepped up and
That kept this
kept
economy
this
running.
economy running. And now they're like in the firing line. It just does not make sense.
It doesn't make sense, yes. Martin Emutoni saying Mavutu is a Kasi version of Slay Queen.
Toch.
So you are the Kasi Slay Queen now. Mariada Mavutu.
I grew up in the village. Please give me the village terminology.
Rika Wanekwaya.
The village terminology.
Semi,
Slay Queen.
put on your mask. You are coughing too much.
Is waar, ne?
Yeah.
Inlik.
Why are you coughing?
Ik was sick van last year.
What was your temperature this morning?
Oh, 30.
30 is too cold. 30 is a dead body.
You are corpse.
It's flu season, me bro. I'm not gonna run away from the flu. My body needs to get sick now and then to
Blame it
stay
is.
strong. Yeah.
Makwa van Makwa, Maria, be careful of Semi. He's coughing too much. Or on the Mwikwata. What? On the Mwikwata. What does that mean?
Like a check on Morocco.
Oh, I am watching you. Epson Hoibep, morning guys. There will be a lot of job losses. It's high time government starts to invest in entrepreneurship. Otherwise, there will be no tax collections for them from government, them being government now. The whole issue of entrepreneurship, even our boss went around the country trying to encourage people to become entrepreneurs with the QVR
Yeah,
code.
the QVR code.
My village terminology will be Okambwiti.
Completely.
No, Okambwiti means something. It means a girl that grew up in the city, but
Yeah,
I'm saying, give me the village version. I grew up in Bambuland.
You are
I
the
never
vill-
lived
you
in the Kasi.
You are village
You
girl.
understand? Yeah, but I'm saying, what is since most now with Slay Queen version for everything most now?
Mavutu in the Kasi,
no.
Slay
Yeah,
Queen
so
in
what is the
Uptown.
Slay Queen in the village now? Cannot? Mwishishi is a lady, so
So-
it can't even be.
Okuihole?
But there are slay queens in the village. Yeah? What do they call them, Muga? It's a good question. Eh?
Well, if you take the word Slay Queen and in its what it actually means, which is a woman that takes care of herself in its real context, it would be Mwishishi. Mwishishi is like, those ladies that just take care, like they're always just looking. Even when they're going to
Prim
church,
and
there's a
proper.
kamocha on the face.
Yes.
There's a red lipstick, That's a Mwishishi. That's
The
what
ones-
we understood them. But
the ones
Mwishishi
apparently
comes
that
from...
knows face soap.
Yeah, but Mwishishi comes from Mrs.,
Yeah.
which is what we used to call the madam in the house,
Ah,
when
Mississy,
the
yeah.
Mississy in the house, but your white boss wife was always the Mrs.
The Mrs.
Mwishishi,
Yeah.
and that translated into somebody that takes care of themselves. Majlevel must know a term must know for the
Yeah.
Okay, Nekos, let's comment.
Yeah.
Erwin is saying, I would focus more on boosting our immune systems, focusing on vitamin D, encourage my people to live a healthier life, and at the same time, protecting the most vulnerable. Yeah, let's just read on. Felicity Gontes Luderitz, can we get statistics on how many people died monthly or seasonally and causes so that we can make informed decisions and be more aware? We also have TB, which is airborne. Just because we have medication for it, we are more relaxed on it, but people die. And also, hold on. People die and no stats on a daily basis. Yeah, no, like this information is actually not really readily available when it comes to stuff like that. Maybe if you go to the ministry or to the Namibia Statistics Agency, I don't know, perhaps maybe some of them will be able to give you some of these numbers. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, with more information, we can make more informed choices.
The TB stats were just released, I think, a week ago, last week.
Yeah, but what? No, but how do you? What does TB stats have to do with the death toll, or with COVID-19 related cases? And this is what I think the person is saying. Like, give us a little bit more information.
Yeah,
Information.
Like when you say,
let me make up my own.
yeah,
mind
when
with
you
the
say
right
6-year-old died, don't just say 6-year-old died. Say a 6-year-old with. I understand. Like I said, it is a very tricky place
And
to
then
navigate as a media practitioner because some of it is private. But what isn't private? For example, I don't expect somebody to say their HIV status, like, the guy that died was HIV positive and had been
They
struggling.
just say that person
But even
died
if you
of,
just said had an underlying health issue, then you know.
So we have an idea, but that's information they will never reveal.
All right. Okay. Let me move to the bottom. Read a couple more comments before we step out of the studio this morning. Oh, village terminology and so slightly. So, Maria staying behind the Oshakati hospital does not make you a village girl. Oh.
I was talking about my mom's house. We stayed in town. Yeah, but I'm saying it's in that joke where you say you guys say the north is most a village. So I'm taking it in that context. Not that I was in the village as a belief. No, this one must know me personally because I mean, if you know where
your mom stays
where I
and all
reside,
that.
but I also don't appreciate you for making that public information. So. But anyway.
Maria lives behind the hospital.
Yeah, now we all know.
Somebody is replying to a comment from Neville, which I do not see. Wanneer het Neville gecomment is?
Ik het ook nie gesien nie.
Kom ek gaan soek hom. Don Jay, wat het hy Toby gesê? Ek wil sien sodat ons hom kan aanvat. It's not. I can't see it, guys. Okay, no, it's fine. Never mind. Never Bason, relax, Toppy. I wrote it that way to check if the crew is awake.
Go on.
Musk. You remember he wrote Musk with the U? In the beginning? I wrote it to check if the crew is awake.
That's what I always say.
Didn't he just pull a Hage on Never?
Yeah.
Hage did the same
I
thing.
used to do that with my teachers. It's like, no, I wrote the wrong answer to see if you actually...
If you know what you're doing.
I know the right one.
It's like somebody that couldn't spell diarrhea in exam, so they wrote kakmach.
That is actually a difficult word to spell.
That's a difficult, but you know the answer, but you can't spell it. Yo.
I bet Maria's village had solar.
Bra, frontline, everything. Even DSTV.
And Davu Nunyango, it's the last comment I'm going to read for today. It will be hard to come up with TB-related COVID death stats at this juncture. Pulling out 3-letter Scrabble words. What? Three? What do they call them? Never mind. Because COVID just arrived on Africa's doorsteps, people in the Western world does not commonly have TB as a comorbidity. What? Comorbidity? I don't know that word. I've never seen it before. Those stats will have to come out of Africa. But then we can start collecting our stats ourselves. Yeah. We don't necessarily always have to. I mean, it's some countries have been independent for 50 plus years already. I mean, we are supposed to have built the capacity to do some of these things for ourselves instead of always, running to the Europeans or the Americans or even
apparently
the Chinese.
TB is for the developing world. I think that's what that person is saying.
But it is true. It is not so prevalent in the developed world.
Yeah,
It's
It's one of
I
those.
don't want to label it like a
A third world problem.
third world problem. But it generally affects the third world much
Population.
more severely. Yeah, the third world population much more severely than people in the developed world. It's like Ebola.
Yeah.
I mean, it was also a sort of pandemic worldwide. But,
Was it?
But it really only affected
Yeah, it was in the States
Africans,
as well.
Yeah.
And then it only affected.
All right, guys. I think it's time for us to step out of the studio. Tomorrow we have Mr. Digu. Aaron Neville, you always say the surname with a click.
Like, oh,
Yeah, so now.
Don't say it.
Yeah.
Don't.
Well, it's from the tourism industry. That's the gentleman who's going to be joining us in studio tomorrow morning.
the
Yes.
bus.
We would definitely like to. And Friday morning we have Marianne Pembe in studio as well.
Yes.
So that's going to be another interesting one.
I love Maria, guys. And let me just make it clear that no Maria Slender will be tolerated on the show. We love Maria Nepimbu.
Maria's my girl, man. My superstar.
Superstar.
Superstar. All right, we're out of here. Enjoy
it
the
out.
rest of the day, Semi. What's today's Wednesday, ne?
Yes,
You're on
yeah.
the hour later on.
Yeah,
What's coming up?
I'll be talking to Kofi. Probably will be talking about his performance at Dross.
Wait, who was performing at Dross?
No, he's performing. So
Oh, it's most 250.
we'll,
250 people.
So we'll probably be talking more about that and how, some businesses will be making money again. And the Shabin owners will be angry because for them they still
Well, don't
feel...
give the whole plot away.
And I'm not giving it away, just that.
Oh, now we're not going to watch the show
we're not
anymore.
gonna watch the show.
Oh, man. All right, guys, you can catch that between 12 and 1 on Informanté Radio's Facebook page, also streaming live. And, of course, keep coming back to Informanté News here on Facebook or check out informante.web.na for all your news updates. We're out.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9, Monday to Fridays.
The morning.